Hey, what's up guys? So let's take a look at the cloud features of the Vantrue line of dash cams. And the idea is if you're running one of the compatible Vantrue dash cams, and I'll put the entire list here on screen, and you also pick up their optional LTE module here like this, plug in a SIM card, plug this into the dash cam, well, you're now going to have LTE connectivity for the dash cam, which gives you a bunch of cloud-based features. Now, I've been testing it for the past week or so while out on a trip, and overall, I find that it works pretty well. It's not going to be as feature-rich and refined as something like the Blackview line of cloud capabilities, but overall, it does add a lot of really useful features. For example, it's going to allow you to do things like live stream the video footage from the dash cam to your phone remotely, both driving and parked. Additionally, if your car, let's say, gets hit while parked and there's a hit and run, it's going to send you a notification to your phone, and you're going to be able to view the video of what happened to your car while you were gone right from your phone. Additionally, this LTE module can serve as a Wi-Fi hotspot in your car. So if you've got other devices that can also connect to the internet via Wi-Fi, whether it's a radar detector or another phone or tablet, etc., those can also use the Wi-Fi hotspot connection here in this LTE module to effectively give you Wi-Fi in the car as well. You're also going to be able to do things like change the settings on the dash cam remotely, not just when you're sitting in the car next to the dash cam. And so there's a lot of really cool added features and functionality. And so in this video, let's do a quick demo and kind of go over what the different features are and how well they work in practice, as well as maybe some of the things that I would like to see Vantrue improve to maybe get them a little bit closer to some of the best competition. Now, to start things off, in order to do this, you're going to need, of course, a Vantrue brand dash cam and their optional LTE module. I'll put links in the description to all the different stuff that you'll need. And the way that this all hooks up is effectively you've got a USB cable here on this LTE module. It's going to plug into the dash cam, and then the dash cam's power cable actually plugs into the port right here on the LTE module. So this is effectively going to be kind of in between the dash cam and its power cable, and this functions as like a power pass-through. The SIM card you can install right here in this little pop-out tray, just like you would on a cell phone. And then to get everything set up on the software side, you're going to pull up the Vantrue app, and at the bottom there's going to be a plus button which you can tap like that, choose whatever dash cam that you're connected to, and you'll notice there's the option to choose either the dash cam itself standalone or have it paired with the LTE module. You hit the plus there and then just go ahead and let it connect to the LTE module and run through the setup process. Now, the main hiccup that I ran into during installation is you're going to want to make sure that this LTE module is actually plugged into the side of the dash cam and not the GPS antenna port. The reason is if you plug it in here, the GPS antenna will work, but you're not going to get the LTE data into the dash cam. And so for that reason, you are going to want to plug it into the dash cam here like this. Additionally, I had some issues initially getting the GPS antenna working with the LTE module plugged into the dash cam here like that, but it did work eventually. It's also worth noting that if you're using their optional suction cup mount, which is great for travel, this is not going to allow you to do both GPS and LTE at the same time. If you want the LTE to work, you have to plug it in here into the dash cam. If you want GPS, you got to plug it in there. I've also noticed that after a couple days, my GPS stopped working altogether on this mount. It looks like the mount died and is defective and I got to replace it. But either way, the best solution is going to be using the double stick tape mount here like this, sliding it on, and then just plugging the LTE module into the side of the dash cam. That way you can get both GPS and LTE functionality at the same time. Now in the dashcam, you're going to have some options for LTE settings, just like you do in the app. And this will vary from one model to another. But if we take a look here in the E1 Pro, you can see we've got options here to control the push notifications. You can either have them in real time when something happens, or a 3-minute delay if you like, or you can turn them off altogether. I like having them in real time, and we'll go ahead and demo how real time these really are. There's also options here for data flow control. The main thing here I've noticed is it will give you some additional notifications in the app as far as data usage, which I find a little bit annoying. So I'm actually just going to turn it off here. And a big thanks to Jeff at Vantrue for helping explain this. There's also option here for the collision notifications, kind of like a hit and run, for example. You've got the options of if you wanted to like do lower resolution, lower quality video to save data, or if you wanted to go ahead and upload the original quality video, which takes longer, better quality, of course, and will also use more data. For now, we'll just kind of keep things quick. We'll do the save traffic option. And then if we want to view the original video footage, that's always saved on the memory card too. There's also going to be a number of different parking recording modes, and the LTE functionality will vary between different modes. We'll start here first with motion detection, and then we'll also take a look at like low bitrate, the time-lapse recording mode, which it calls low frame rate, and then the collision detection. So we'll set it to motion detection, and let's get started. Now we'll start here first in driving recording mode, and if you pull up the app, we'll go down to the dashcam here with the LTE module, and I'll give it a tap here. And you're going to notice at the very top it says that LTE is connected, and then it takes a second for it to also then connect to the dashcam too. Now we'll start here by go ahead and tapping on LTE first, and it's going to go ahead and now connect directly to the dash cam over LTE and allow us to go ahead and begin live streaming and seeing exactly what's going on here with the dash cam. It does take a couple seconds for it to connect, and it's a little bit stuttery and jerky compared to real time, but it does work pretty well here. You can also see how good of like an internet connection or like cellular connection you've got with LTE. And then there's a number of buttons here on the bottom. You can like start and stop recording here like this if you like. We'll go ahead and start recording on the dash cam. You've also got the LTE screen recording option. We'll tap on that and it's gonna go ahead and basically start recording what the dash cam is seeing. Then we'll stop that here. Okay, video saved, cool. Now we've got it saved right here on the phone, which is kind of nice. There's also the option here for switch camera windows or camera angles. That's if you have a multi-channel dash cam, you can switch between like front and rear camera angles, for example. The intercom feature, that's kind of fun. So like in case maybe somebody breaks into your car, right? And you're watching it here in the video, you can actually hit the intercom feature and talk into your phone and the dash cam will play that audio to be like, hey, I know you're breaking into my car, get out, I'm calling the cops or whatever. That's what that feature is for. You've also got the audio feature here, I think if you want to turn the mic on and off. And then you've got the folder feature, which is going to allow you to view the different video files in the dash cam. So the cloud folder is basically the video files that have been uploaded to the cloud. You can see that there's different types of videos and preview images. It looks like I got about 2 gigs here of cloud storage. The SD card folder, this is actually going to allow you to see all the video files that are in the dash cam itself. So you can see there's a number of different video files right there, not the ones that have been uploaded to the cloud. And then finally, you've also got the mobile local folder. So like video files that we've transferred to the phone here, that's going to show up here in the mobile folder. Then if we go back to the main screen here, we'll let it connect. And at the bottom, it's also going to tell you how much data you're using, which is kind of nice. If you're on like a limited data cap or something, you can see basically how much data you're using while actually live streaming, which I think is a nice touch. And if we switch to parking recording, let's see how this changes. And the idea is whenever there's any sort of motion detected, which can be a person walking by your car while you're parked, it could be a car driving by your car, it could be somebody parking next to you, obviously somebody hitting your car like a hit and run. It's not detecting the collisions, it's just the motion. But whenever there is motion detected, it's going to save that clip to the dash cam, and then it's eventually going to send a notification to your phone a little while later. I have noticed that notification can take a little while. I'll tap on it here like this. And pull it up so that we can see what it's like. In the past, I've seen it's taken about 50 seconds or so. That one did seem a little bit faster. I'll put on screen as far as how long that took. But you can see it's going to go ahead and show kind of like an image preview right there. Not a video yet, but an image preview of kind of what triggered the dash cam. We do have to wait, it looks like a little bit of time for the video to pop up. There it is. We'll hit play here like this. Hopefully it loads. Looks like it didn't there. I have noticed sometimes I have to do it a second time. We'll try it again. Maybe it's like still uploading or something. I'm not sure why it errors out sometimes the first time. Okay, it's going to use some data. Totally cool. Let's go ahead and start playing. Now for the motion detection, we can go ahead and see the clip now. It's not going to show us yet what happened because it is a 45-second long buffered motion detection clip. The first 15 seconds is kind of leading up to the event. And then you'll see right around the 15-second mark, that's when we're going to see kind of what triggered the motion detection. So we should see me actually entering the frame here. Not sure why that's not working here, but in theory, it should actually show you what the dash cam saw and what triggered the motion detection. There we go. Looks like that one was a little longer. That one took, what, 35 seconds or so? Maybe it got triggered off like the stuff blowing in the wind or something. So that one took longer than I expected. I've also noticed that like sometimes when cars are driving by, even cars that are like super far away can also trigger the motion detection. You can adjust the sensitivity in the dash cam there. But that actually brings me to the next point, which is maybe why I don't use the LTE with the motion detection, is because you can actually get a lot of unwanted like motion detection clips notifying you in your phone. And over the course of like hours, you can get tons and tons and tons of clips on your phone. And it gets kind of excessive and annoying and pointless when it's recording and notifying you of every person that walks by and every car that drives by. So I don't really like it in practice for the LTE connections. For the motion detection specifically, I think maybe one of the most useful one is going to be for the collisions in case somebody hits your car and there's a hit and run. So let's take a look at that next. And to do that, if we go back here into the app, actually not, oh, it's not letting me do it. I can actually go in here and change the settings in the dash cam remotely over LTE. So let's go over here to LTE. We'll pull this up here, let it connect. Again, you can see we're now streaming live. This is not Wi-Fi locally. This is over the cloud. Now we'll hit the settings button up here at the top. This is going to allow us to go in and adjust the different settings here on the dash cam too. And I'm going to scroll down here and we're going to go to parking recording mode. You can see for motion detection, what I have enabled right now, there's a couple different sensitivity options, but I'm going to switch it over here to collision detection. So in case of like a hit and run or something. this is what it's going to be saving and sending notifications of. It's not going to be doing the motion detection stuff. Additionally, there's also some options here for the collision detection. You can either do like a quick start mode. So it's going to wake up the dash cam sooner and begin recording. Not immediately, and it's not going to record before the impact, but it does happen a little bit sooner. There's also a power saving mode, which is going to take way less power, which is good for like extended parking recording, but it also takes a lot longer for the dash cam to wake up and begin recording. So for now, we're going to set it over here to quick start mode to kind of try to demo this here a little bit faster and get all the notifications and stuff. And let's just go ahead and powering the car on and off and putting it back into parking recording mode. And we'll just try that again here real quick. So we'll whack the car again. Oh, and there we go. There's the collision messages. So again, I'll put on screen how long that took. We'll tap on that and we'll take a look at the video that gets uploaded to the cloud and what that whole process is like. Okay, so you can see we've got the image right there, and then we got to wait a little bit for the video, I guess, to get uploaded. It is taking a little while. You can see kind of like down below at 11:31, that was like a previous kind of test here that I did. You can see it uploaded the video clip, but not the image preview, which is kind of interesting. Right now, we're still waiting on like the video to show up. I'm not sure where it is. Can I refresh it? See if that does anything? Oh, okay, there we go. So there's the video file. So we'll go ahead and play it here like this. Oh, that didn't work. Try it again here. Maybe the second time again. No? Oh, there we go. Maybe it just finished there. 118 megs. Okay. I guess it just took longer to upload. So interesting. I guess it uploads the video clip. But oh, okay, there we go. So there's the clip. You can see it's missing the actual impact of when I hit the car. And then it just kind of shows me like walking in front. So it wakes up and shows the clip, but it does miss like the actual impact on before as well, which was different than the motion detected clip. Now, the main thing that I like about this though is the fact that you don't get a bunch of like notifications to your phone every time somebody rides a bike by your car or walks in front of your car or drives by it. So it's really only in case of like a collision, an actual impact, that you get the notification. So I think this is the mode that I would actually run if I was running a Vantrue Dashcam full time. Additionally, because the Dashcam is usually asleep in collision recording mode and kind of waiting for an impact to wake up, you'll notice that it might take a little bit longer to connect. And if I pull up the app right here, you can see that it says it's connected via LTE, but it's connecting to the Dashcam. And if we try to go ahead and connect to LTE like this, you can see that it says the device is waking up. Please wait. That way we can then do all the like LTE stuff. Cool, there we go. Looks like we're connecting. And then in just a second here, we should be up and running here and able to live stream. Again, I'll put on the bottom of the screen how long it took for that whole process here. I would love to see kind of like, actually something kind of similar to what I have with the black views, where like I got both motion detection and parking recording and collision detection at the same time, record both of them to the dash cam, but only send me collision notifications if somebody actually hits the car, and do it faster like the black view. Give me the image previews right in the notification. You know, don't be so quirky with like having to wake up the dash cam. I think there's a lot of room for improvement compared to what I'm used to, but as far as the Vantrue, these are kind of the two main modes. Now there are other modes as well. If we go into the settings, there's two other parking recording modes that we can take a look at here. The other ones are going to be your low bitrate recording mode, just kind of like continuous recording, both video and audio. I don't think there's going to be any sort of like collision notifications or anything. I was playing with it before, it didn't work. And there's also going to be the low frame rate mode, which is going to be your time-lapse recording mode. And you can choose kind of like how many frames per second, you know, for the video only time-lapse mode. There's no audio. We can play with that. Looks like with this one, the E1 Pro, you can do 1080p at 15 FPS or 720. I'll leave it at 1080 for now. And then we'll again just quickly power off the car here so we can switch back from driving recording mode to parking recording mode. And low bitrate mode, this is going to be nice if you want the Dashcam, of course, to record continuously while parked, video and audio, lower quality video, but it allows you to record everything without completely, you know, filling up your memory card. As far as the impact notifications, let's just quickly test that. So we'll whack the windshield again. There's that. There's the notifications here from my black views, but it doesn't look like I'm getting any sort of notification here from the Vantrue, which honestly I think makes sense. I think the only notifications we get from collision detection are really just for collision detection. I think it would be nice to do like impact notifications, even when you're in like a low bitrate mode or time lapse or something. But I don't think that's the way that the Vantrue is set up. Anyways, going back into the Dashcam now, we can take a look here at the main screen. The last thing that I want to point out are these different buttons here at the bottom. So underneath Wi-Fi and LTE, we've got the geofence option. And this is going to allow us to do things like set an area where if the Dashcam enters or exits a certain area, you can get a notification. Some parents like that and stuff, you know, for their kids when they're getting to school or leaving home or something. You've also got the message center. This is going to be the main area where you get all of the like images and videos from when the Dashcam has been uploading stuff to the cloud. And you can see here all the different ones that we've had during this video. And it's also got some of the clips from the past couple days when I was testing it before shooting this video. We've got the locate vehicle option, which can basically just show you on a map where your vehicle is and also to navigate to it, which can be kind of nice if you forgot like where your car was parked or something, or where it is if you want to track it. Maybe somebody else is driving it. With data usage, we can pull that up here and it'll show you how much data your Dashcam has been using. So you can see 0.65 gigs in the last 3 months, really about the last week or so that I've been testing with this. We've got the LTE settings. This is going to actually allow us to connect directly to the LTE module. Let's show you that here. And for that, I'll just hit the button here on the bottom left of the LTE module. You can see this is lighting up right here for Bluetooth connectivity. These bottom LEDs are for like power and giving us signal strength information for how good of a cellular connection it's got. And coming back to the app now, we'll try this again and we'll just hit the checkbox. And now my phone should actually just go ahead and connect directly to that LTE module. And I can go in and adjust things here like the Wi-Fi. Do I want it to automatically turn on with the car? So like radar detectors or phones or whatever can connect to it, or have it on or off full time. For the Wi-Fi mode, you can see we've got both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi available, which is great. We can change the default Wi-Fi password. The default here is 123456778. So like with any dash cam, you're going to want to change the default password. So if you've got it in the car, nobody can just walk right up to it and connect it and just guess the password. And you can also double check that just by hitting like the Wi-Fi info here in the app. And then if we go back, we've got the APN info. This is where you can go in and choose like if the automatic stuff doesn't work with the initial kind of setup and whatnot, you can go in here and like manually type in your APN info and whatnot that you get from whatever cellular company you're using. We've got the indicator light, those lights that I showed you on the module. You can turn them on and off if you like. Whoop, device not found. And speaking of those status lights, it looks like they're still on, so I'm not sure why that connection here just dropped. And so as you can see, there's a lot of different features that are available here with the cloud capabilities in the Vantrue Dashcam. And yes, the stuff works, but it's kind of quirky, right? Stuff maybe takes 1 or 2 attempts to actually get working properly. Things can be kind of slow to actually connect to the Dashcam, to get the notifications when something happens, etc. It's not as responsive as something I'm used to with like the Blackview Dashcams, which admittedly those have been around for much, much longer, and they've had a chance to like refine and improve this stuff. And even though there's stuff I'd like to see, you know, done even better on the Blackview side, they're definitely quite a bit better than what I'm seeing here on the Vantrue side. Nevertheless, I'm glad to see that we've got the options to do things like live stream in real time, to get the notifications, to be able to change settings over the air, which can be actually really nice as well. That's not always available with a lot of the different cloud dashcam manufacturers, and I like that we have the ability to change settings remotely as well. As far as maybe some of the biggest improvements I'd like to see like just things be more reliable and faster, right? Like if somebody hits my car, I want to know really quickly. I'd love seeing the image preview I get with the Blackviews, and I love being able to quickly see that video without having to wait for everything to upload. And so yes, this Vantrue stuff works, but it's just not as smooth and quick as I would like to see in practice. Maybe I'm a little bit spoiled. I'm used to some of the other ones, but I'm glad nevertheless to see Vantrue like really taking a good solid attempt at this. And I've kind of shared my experiences with them over on the forums, and they've already mentioned that they're going to be sharing this with their tech team and hopefully making some improvements in the future. So I hope that it's going to be better than this down the line. But nevertheless, I like that they've got a lot of these cloud features. It's different, I guess, when you're just taking a look at their sales page with like all the marketing checkboxes and the features of like, here's what we can do. But hopefully this video kind of gives you a better idea of like not only what they can do, but how well everything works in practice. And if you're interested in picking up an LTE module for your Vantrue Dashcam, I'll put a link, of course, in the description to the LTE module, the different dashcams that it's compatible with, etc. If you'd like to check out some of the other brands and how they compare, I'll have a list down in the description of some of the other brands that also do cloud capabilities. I'm just kind of running through a list of the different cloud capable dash cams and just seeing what all they're like, and if Blackview is still in the lead or not, and if so, by how much more, and if they're not, well, how close are some of the other brands coming? I think in that respect, Vantrue's pretty good. Not Blackview level, but pretty good. Would I want to run it full time? Not really. I think the biggest complaint would be like, I would only really want to run it in the collision notification option. But if I do that, I can't also get like the motion detection clips, and I don't get the buffered recording here, at least in the E1 Pro. I know, again, this kind of stuff may vary from one model to another, but I would love to see something where you've got both motion detection and impact detection available in the dash cam, but then only notifying you for the impacts and giving you really quick impacts as well, or the notification impacts. So that's kind of like some of the biggest improvements I would like to see on the Vantrue side that would make me much more, I don't know, interested in their cloud capable offerings. But for the time being, That's how everything looks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button to get notified as new videos like this go live. Thanks again for watching. Hope you're all doing great. I'll see you in the next one.